LARP, 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 Sahur. It is your favorite YouTuber. I'm Corny Gaming, back again for, I don't know, like 4 months now. Whatever, I guess. I've been gone too long, so now I'm back. That's about as much explanation as I should really give y'all, I guess. No, I'm just playing with y'all. I've been gone forever, mainly because schoolwork and bad Wi-Fi. But oh great heavens, I've been so busy that I literally forgot I had a YouTube channel. So, Papa's back, spoon feeding you some more delectable content slop that I call movie reviews. But I'm being real with this one, so I'm just gonna say we're reviewing zombie flicks. Let's keep on rolling, baby.
Only we can fly.
Today I'm watching another Netflix original called Viral. This is my first ever viewing of this movie, so literally I had no idea what I was gonna watch. But my summarization of it is pretty much the movie starts out making you think it's going to be another generic high school zombie movie. Instead, it kind of worked the same way Fear the Walking Dead did, like the first time it aired. Like how it showed the early stages of the apocalypse, a daily life interrupted by the living dead, and like a slow drip flood. Oh, yeah, also, it kind of doesn't really spread the same way either. It kind of spreads through like a virus worm thing, like a bot fly, except there's no fly to uh, lay its larva in your neck or something. But this parasite spreads through blood and grows inside of you, like I said, like a botfly, pretty much becoming a rabid worm zombie thing with an insatiable appetite. The movie follows two young sisters that hate each other because their parents are divorced and don't know how to direct their anger and sadness. The older sister, literally just a bitch. There's like nothing likable about her until like the end of the movie. And the younger sister, she's just kind of subdued and does not know how to speak up or defend herself. So she's just kind of all right, I guess, but meek is all I could really describe her. They sit in their home, quarantined for like 3 weeks after the initial infection really hits the school. So, out of pure boredom, somebody decides to throw a little party in an unfinished house where, surprise, surprise, an infection ridden ghoul who's dressed like the Unabomber eats like 15 people and gives the older sister a little love bite on the arm. So, this being a very big problem, the younger sister lures her back to the house and traps her in a closet, boards that thing up so she can't get out, and thinks maybe if we starve her, the worm will also be starved and leave her body. So, they wait like 4 days, and that literally does nothing. So the younger sister grounds up her mom's extra strength sleeping pills and tries to cut the worm out of her neck when her sister's drugged. It kind of worked, I guess, but the sister pretty much just woke up in the middle of the operation, screaming in pain because, your sister's using this like rusty steak knife to cut at your neck to get this big old 3 foot long parasitic worm, that's been living in your body, but she doesn't really like how that feels, so she rips that sucker out of body. So they wait another 3-ish days, I guess, so she can recover from her worm possession. And we think she's okay, because like after maybe an hour of her being normal, she ends up eating the like remaining food supplies that they were given, and she runs into a house with a ton of other wormy people. The younger sister insists that she runs to the other house looking for her, instead only gets stuck there as soon as the military begins a bombing run. Anyway, the sister jumps into the pool from the second floor in like a split second before the bomb hits the house. Like, I'm telling you, like, she jumps in the pool. This thing's kind of tough because it's edited like a 2000s Transformer film, Michael Bay type of explosion. It's slow, very CGI ridden, but damn, does it look pretty tough. But anyway, she survives this like bombing run and leaves the neighborhood to go find her parents, who apparently now just live in Washington State. Like that's never really explained. They just kind of say, "Yeah, we're in Washington State now. We left our like regards on a poster board like 15 miles on the outskirts of town. If you can find it, good job. If you don't, um, we can always make more of you. Literally, that's us. Bye bye, kids." And that was viral. It was all right. I mean, the time skips weren't really shown, but they were definitely implied. If anything, the whole movie took over the course of like 2, maybe 4 weeks. I mean, pretty nice, I guess. They use a worm for an infection, which was kind of friggin' cool. I rarely see anything similar to that, you know. That's pretty cool.
Evil 4.
Oh, yeah, that. Aside from that, next up on the chopping block is Blood Quantum, another movie I have never seen nor heard of. And apparently it came out in like 2019 and was very positively received by people. It's a unique concept, never heard of. Okay, aside from that, but to summarize it, an apocalypse happens, the dead are rising, and the world seems to be in shambles. Oh, wait, never mind. It's just 1981 and you're living on an Indian reservation. We see a man gut a salmon, knife in its belly, spring back up to life, hinting that the dead are not actually dead. We follow a native sheriff that has, executed his neighbor's dog because it ate rat poison or something. And, like, right after this scene, he heads right over to her house because their son got into some trouble. What kind of trouble, do you ask? Um, how do I put this in a semi not so graphic manner? There's literally no other way. He shit on a woman's car from like 80 feet in the air. Granted, that shit took accuracy. He hit her windshield, and unfortunately, she did hit the friggin' what did she hit? She hit the side of the bridge. She didn't, drive off, but that's pretty crazy. He had that accuracy and timing, but they had to go pick him up from the police station. And it's kind of where we see this father talk to his son, and you can tell that they're not really on good terms. But it is what it is. He literally just goes, "Shit's burnt, we're cooked. Time to see why the dead ain't dying." Because apparently they actually got a call like right before he goes to the police station that there's another person who's in like, what do I say? I'm trying to think. I wrote the script like 4 months ago. Not even four. Maybe it was like last year, pretty much last year, and I still can't read it. Oh, that's right. Um, the dog comes back alive after he already shot the dog, so that's why he says things are wrong and let's go investigate. But after that happens, they got the call to go experience a domestic problem, which is a big no-no. So the sheriff pulls up to the house to discover that the domestic problem wasn't the wife getting beaten by her husband. Instead, it was a home birth resulting in her dying, then eating the baby.
What? What?
Holy moly, they threw in every ounce of dread and uncomfortability into that scene, and good gravy. That was crazy. Jesus. I don't know. You know what? That was pretty cool. It was a crazy scene. Definitely did not expect them to go that hard in the paint, but I'm just going to skip like 40 minutes because the interesting thing about this infection is that anybody that's not a part of the reservation will get infected from any and all zombie contact. The tribal leaders let some survivors seek refuge in the reservation because someone spilled beans about a community full of people that can't contract the virus. So, that means people think there's a cure or something. But unfortunately, the people they let in are infected. And the only person that dies is their daughter because she's visibly turning. I'm talking, she's splayed out in her mama's arms, wrapped up in some blanket or something, and she's literally zombie green. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but a fatal zombie virus that can spread via mouth usually means it's going to spread very fast. So it doesn't take a genius to see where this is going. If you thought that it was going to lead to a horrible invasion, well, then we'd both be wrong, because it actually led to a party under an overpass where there was an uprising getting ready to kick off because some of these few, like five, maybe 10 tribal members hate letting in outsiders. So they plan to lead zombies into the camp to claim the white people did this. But their plan backfires and just kills 90% of the population. The main tribe leaders are not actually at the main living area of the res because they're actually clearing out a motel full of zombies. And after clearing it out, they roll back to the crib only to see that it's full of the dead and up in flames. So this prompts the sheriff to save his family and try and get other people out of this dumpster fire. But like skipping a bit, they save maybe 10 people and pretty much just become nomads looking for the man responsible. And after presumably weeks of searching, they actually make contact with him and have a fight to the death. In this little fight, they stab him and leave him to become a light snack for the zombies. And they skip like another month and they're leaving the island the reservation's on. So the sheriff's trying to convince his dad to come with them, but he just says, I want to die on my land and you're not going to do nothing about it. So his dad's like, fine, you can have your awesome final stand between 30 zombies. And I think it's implied he survives. I can't really tell if he dies or survives. It's something you need to really see for yourself because the end of the movie rolls around with our title card, Blood Quantum. That was a really good movie. I did not know how I have not seen this movie yet. I mean, oh, yeah, that's why. Anyway, I saw the movie on Tubi. I'm probably hoping it's still there. I enjoyed the story. The visuals were fun. How tense it felt. The cinematography was great. It felt like there were some real heavy stakes there. I mean, I enjoyed how the characters were written. The sheriff at first came off as an absent father, but slowly became a more coerced, like involved role model with his sons as the apocalypse had gone on. Essentially, this whole broken family started off as a crumbly, like Nature Valley bar and ended up becoming as solid as a block of hardtack. Well, moving on over from American Indians, I think it's time we catch our flight to the magical place in Asia called Thailand. You may be asking me, brings us to this side of the world. Just no reason, just a little bit of a culture exchange, if you will. The movie we're watching on this side of the world is called Ziam. Ziam is a movie about an ex Muay Thai boxer named Singh that is doing everything in his power to get him and his girlfriend run out of the city since the country has experienced a biblical level famine. When I was watching this movie, I at first thought it was going to be a cheesy action movie with poorly choreographed Netflix fights and very obviously bad makeup. But boy, oh boy, was I pleasantly surprised. The fight scenes looked awkward and hard and like blatantly bad that had no connection. So, I kind of just left it down to first scene jitters. So I didn't judge it too hard for how it looked and just sat through it. And thank sweet baby Jesus for that decision because the fight scenes with the zombies are so brutal. The main guy saying he fights soldiers too, so it's not just a one sided action movie of kicking down zombies that can't really fight back. I'm talking he's beating up elite soldiers like he's friggin' Leon Kennedy. And like also what I mean by a one-sided action movie, I mean he gets hit. The main character does get hit and he reacts. And it's not like a Jason Statham or Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie where he gets punched and it's like a little bit of tiddlywink dust hit him in the face. I'm talking like when he's fighting these elite soldiers, he gets knocked down hard. But he gets back up because he's literally him. So we're just gonna cut on back to the film summary where we see Singh coming home to his girlfriend with a fish he got from work. Uh, Singh and his girlfriend end up getting in a heated argument because he didn't tell her that he was going to be gone for like 2 weeks driving cargo across the country. So we end up getting to see Ren get ready for work, all upset, dressed in scrubs. She walks into a hospital transport buck truck with another coworker and her son. I probably should have wrote down his name, and nor will I ever do it. But editor, if you want to, put the boy's name up on screen. Thanks, King. You earned your weekly food stamps. As we follow Rin to the hospital, we see how bad this famine has hit Thailand. Like, their people fight over scraps of roaches, fish bones, and that little nice Boston steamer of British cuisine that nobody's gonna touch because it's awful and British. With this mass starvation, these walking skeletons are very obviously upset with the lack of food security. This leads to a few scenes of riots and a couple of glimpses of how armed the cops are. And keep that in mind for later, because Ren arrives to the hospital, clocking in for her shift, getting ready to perform a surgery, only to be interrupted by the head honcho telling her that there's a mysterious illness that some guy caught from something food related. Uh-oh, foodborne virus. Well, we see Ren getting unprepared for this operation to learn that the man is sick is actually a member of the country's literal messiah's inner circle. And when I mean Messiah, I'm talking this guy revived the country by pumping every single dime he has into everything they were able to invest in. I'm talking from food storage to building jobs to building buildings. Like it's crazy. But that's just a little bit of a background for him. Because the hospital Ren is in actually was built by him. The guy who's built everything is named Mr. Vasu. And kind of try to remember him because he does become a little important. But, to summarize what happened to his homeboy, he ate some fish made by one of his factories and immediately got sick, prompting him to suffer a complete total organ failure and split up some black tar like he's a nasty little sink that you're just cleaning out for the first time in weeks. Um, it's a shame that he got sick from this factory food because it's supposed to be the cure to this mass starvation. Instead, he brought a massive zombie bomb into a hospital full of like 300 people. In zombie like fashion, this guy dies in the hospital, forcing Rin to check it out and try and resuscitate him. And as I mentioned earlier, he's a ticking time bomb that goes off and infects like 13 people as soon as he gets up from the hospital bed. So, with all this commotion, everybody outside begins to think it's actually a riot that's beginning in the street. So, like I mentioned with the policemen outside that are armed to the teeth, begin to prepare themselves for this, I don't know, active threat. I mean, it is an active threat because apparently people are throwing themselves out the window from like 900 feet up in the air. And, that kind of scares everybody except for Singh. He's like, "Hey, yo, let me cross the line." And the guard that's there is like, "I'm gonna blast a hole in your chest the size of a $50 if you don't step off, little bro." So Rin, being the absolute thinker, he's like, "Bro, my lady's in there. She's a doctor. Can I go talk to her?" And right before he does anything else, they're immediately distracted because one of the people that literally flew out from like the fifth story window comes out and attacks one of the people, giving Singh enough time to run into the building and, kick some zombie cheeks and begin his climb to his girlfriend. On his climb up, he finds a little boy, which was the exact same one in the APC with Rin at the start of the movie. He tells Singh what floor she's on and that he's going to join him so he can live for his mom. I'm going to skip some more because literally I've spent like 40 minutes of the movie already. And I want to say around the hour 20 mark, Mr. Vasu finds Ring banging on his office door, reluctantly letting her in, gives her a pretty sick proposal, if I might add. Give my hospitalized wife new blood, or you die. So Rin's pretty smart. He tries to, or not he, it's a she. She tries to see if she can negotiate who else can join them, but Mr. Vasu drops a firm maybe. And like I said, the elite forces of the policemen also have direct ties with Mr. Vasu. So, with these direct ties, Mr. Vasu and his wife are able to be escorted out in like, I don't know, 25 minutes. But they do the same thing that Sing is doing, except they extend significantly faster, predominantly because they're working in like a group of 8 people with guns. But we see that not only are they killing zombies, they're also killing people and planting bombs on the gas pipes to eliminate any trace of the virus. So bear in mind, Rin, Sing, and that one little boy are still dealing with zombies. Now they gotta worry about friggin' heavily armed soldiers that are moving like Prime King Von. I mean, it's a nice free for all. It pretty much just comes to an end when Sing finds Rin cornered in a cold storage area with a swarm of zombies pounding on the door. And, Sing, an ex Muay Thai fighter goat, beats like 15 zombies to death, saves her, reunites together, our Hulk woman like, and then gets the right plug bag, only for them to round a corner and have Sing shot in the chest. Bro, Mr. Vazu literally said, firm maybe. But that was pretty much just him saying, I had no intention of getting you guys out at all. Bro legitimately had his armed escorts pull him and his essentially dead wife away. Like she was laying there. I think she was there, like laid down, all dead like for, I think the start of the virus, or not even the virus, the start of the like mass food shortage. So she was pretty much just a vegetable. But whatever. Gotta love a guy who's loyal. So Singh wasn't going to let getting shot in the chest slide that easily. So he rose up like the friggin' Undertaker, shook that off, and said, nah, I'm him. He beat 4 armed guards. Like, what? He was moving literally like a flash. He beat like maybe 2 to death with his hands, and then he was able to get one of them to get shot because his other buddy was trying to shoot him. But, he had the human shield type beat going on, and he shot him. But, after he dealt with those guys, he came face to face with the Colonel. I ain't gonna lie, Singh got his ass whooped, but he still kept fighting. It was literally like throwing a Hail Mary at the last 45 seconds of a Super Bowl. But instead of fumbling, he caught that John and kicked the Colonel into a zombie, getting infected and dying. Since that was literally peak, I'm skipping to the end. I legitimately think this movie deserves a full watch through by you. Yes, you, the viewer, sitting on your computer phone watching me talk about this movie in like a 5 minute span. But I'm just gonna skip again. You know, Singh's locked in a car in the hospital parking garage. Mr. Vasu, dead and bloated. Rin and Boy, chopper out the hospital. Um, Singh escapes the car swarmed by zombies because it just explodes. Wasn't explained, so I'm just gonna chop it down to poor Asian car manufacturing skill. Singh makes it all the way to the roof, seeing Rin and Boy screaming at the pilot to let him on, only to watch him kill like 20 or 30 zombies as the building explodes and crumbles. We see a nice little "where are they now" type of ending clip before the movie hits the end credits. It just shows Ren and Boy are safe in a forested shack while Singh remains somewhere near the building, I think, in the rubble, killing zombies stuck under debris, potentially leaving the viewer to think they might reunite in another movie, but that's literally never going to happen. I mean, it's considered just to be too forgettable by the people that watched it, but I'm really hoping Netflix does not screw this up. I mean, I'm hoping they actually make it because I was just so invested in the characters they set up. Like the ending is literally a direct sequel or setting up for a direct sequel. So all I can really do is just hope that you guys will see this movie. It's just please. I just wanted to be up there for like the next film review, maybe hopefully next year, maybe the year after. But this movie was very fun. At first I wasn't sure it was going to be good, because the fights looked really bad at first, but the movie progressed and it got better. I started to see the fights with the zombies being so brutal. When he fought the soldiers, he was getting sluggish. So it was like, it was great because it showed that he was getting tired, like, fighting for literal hours. I'm talking sun up to sundown. The only time he took a break was when he was too exhausted to keep fighting and caught a bullet to the shoulder. I highly recommend Ziam. It's on Netflix. It isn't Thai, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have the auto translate feature for English dubbed and subbed. But that's all, folks. it's time I started the other reviews, is what I would say. But I'm gonna take a break from these horror movie reviews because I finally have what's the word? Bro, I'm like blanking right here. Like I'm trying to get the other two done. I mean, I got that the picks you guys wanted me to do. Those are gonna take a while to review because there's like 15 movies you guys recommended, which Lord, it's crazy. I do want them to be out sometime in the future, definitely way before the next October horror movie review. And granted, I know what you're gonna say it's not October anymore, but that doesn't matter because like I want to do something like different. I got to go back to the roots. So we're going to be doing that Fallout 3 Can You Beat as a Chinese Soldier thing. You know, that's something I thought would be hilarious because who's actually done it? And if you recommend me somebody, I'm gonna say good job. That's cool because the great thing about the Fallout games is there's like an infinite amount of ways you can play to cater to what you want. But it's just gonna be a slog to get through for me because it's gonna be pretty interesting, and I'll tell you about that the next time. But there is a thing that I forgot about, and it's celebrating being in like the 200s video, or not 200s video, the 200 subscribers. Uh, I want to do a cooking video, but I lost my GoPro. I don't know how that happened, but we'll figure something out. But I think it's time I let you guys go. And as always, I hope you enjoyed. Bye.